Yes, good morning. Give me a moment. Let me make a login to your org. All right. Now, further to this discussion, we have understood like how we can create the users. Also, we have understood uh, how to how to prevent a user from getting logged in. And there are two ways to do that. What you can do is you can either you can either deactivate a user or you can freeze them. And technically, what is the difference between freezing a user and deactivating the user? That also we have seen in the last lecture. Now, let me show you a few more things related to user management. Like if I wanted to reset the password for a particular user, how can we do that? And also, what is the reason why to reset the password? First of all, see, for example, there was one of the user and he is facing certain difficulties with the login. And the reason would be like he forgot his password. Maybe he was on the leave, a long leave. When he came back, he tried to make a login, but then so it was not possible. So how to reset the password in that case? It's pretty simple. You just would have to select that user and click onto this button, reset password, right? So what I'm doing was like we created a chatter user, and let's consider this user has forgot his password. So what you can do is like you can just select the user, and for this user you can reset the password. So when you make a reset for him, this user is going to receive one email onto his email ID, like the email ID what we have selected for him. And for every one of them, is the same email ID of your badge. So he's going to receive one link to reset his password. All right. Let me show you that as well. This is step number 2, basically. Your responsibility ended over here. You have reset the password. Now it would become the user's responsibility to finish resetting of the password. So see, this kind of email, Salesforce would give this kind of email where one link has been given for that user that you can reset your password. So when you make a click onto this link, he would be routed to this kind of interface which you already know, and he would have to reset his password. So I'll just see what the password we have given to him. So it was like 208 training, which I have given. I'm not sure whether he can use the same password. I'll make it 20training1.com. So I'll just copy this new password and now change the passwords. Okay, so this is the way that you could reset a password for a particular user. Now, once you make a logout, you're going to get logged out from here as well. And we are going to handle this situation and how to avoid this happening. That was about resetting the user's password. Now, if for example, if you wanted to reset the password for everybody, there are two ways. You can select all and do the reset password. That would reset the passwords for every user, and all of them would going to get one email, the same email, finish resetting the password, and they're at their email ID. Now this is one. Now see, uh, under extreme circumstances, we would require to expire the user's password. Now, what is the difference between resetting and expiring? I'll be telling you that. So first of all, let me show you. You'll have to follow a separate, it would not present inside user. You'll have to follow a separate navigation for this. So what you would require to do is, you first of all would require to go to security controls. Inside security controls, we have expire all passwords, this one. Now, if you make a click and save it, what would happen in that case? The password would going to get expired. Now, understand the differences. If I would do this, if I would do this, then apart from the system administrator, all of the users, all of the user password is going to be get expired. Now they cannot make a login. They cannot make a login. If they would try to reset their password, that would not happen. Unless you as a system admin, what is step number 2? For example, you for a certain strange reason, for me, it would obviously be any odd reason, because this is not a normal circumstances, where you expire the password of whole unit. So it would obviously be an odd reason where we require to expire the password of whole bunch of users except the system admins. But let's consider this may be one of the scenario. So when you expire the password, first thing, understand, they would not going to receive any email, right? They would not going to receive any email. They would not going to receive any email, and they would not able to make a login. They would not able to make a login. So I was telling you, remember yesterday I told you how to prevent the user to make a login. I told you there are 3 ways. There are 3 ways. 2 of them we have discussed yesterday. If you don't want a user particularly will make a login, you freeze them. Second, you can deactivate him. Third, you can expire the password. But expiring the password doesn't give you a selection of individual user as an option. When you do this, if you would do this, every user, it would going to make an impact on all of the users actually, apart from the system admin. Except the system admin, every user, every other user would be impacted with this. But this would also prevent a user to make a login. All right, understand. When you expire the password, they are not going to receive any email. They are not going to receive any email. So if you wanted, particularly a user should get an access, then you'll have to go back. Let's consider that I did this. All right. Let's consider for a time that I have expired the password of every user. Let's consider, which I'm not going to do, but let's consider I did that. Now, after that, what do you want? So you'll have to go to the user, and particularly if you wanted, for example, the development user should have an access, because with the credential he was having, that is expired. The password he has entered is expired. Now you would have to require to make a selection and reset password. Once you will do this, development user will get a link, to reset, or rather, what to say, enter a new password, right? From that onward, he can make a login. So this is what technically is a difference between resetting a password and expiring the password. All right. That could be the third way, but this setting is not applicable on the individual user. Rather, this is something, if you do this, it would going to make an impact on all of the users except the system admin. Understood? That is what. Now, grant the account access. Now, what does this mean? Understand. See how the structure looks like to be. First of all, how the structure what I'm drawing. How this structure looks like to be. In front of in front of the name of the user, there's only one edit link. There's one edit link, and there's nothing except around here. All right. Let me go to another browser, because otherwise every time I would be making a log out once I log out. So I would be making a login to the development user, and let me copy the name of this development user, and the password is, I forgot. Oh yeah, every time. No. Yesterday I don't make a login to this. Yeah, I remember. It was a different user. All right. Now this is the development user, and all right. So consider that this user is actually facing certain difficulties, maybe with some of the what to say, maybe he has assigned one task where he actually is facing certain difficulties, and to resolve that, he wanted that the system administrator, you know, should look into his account. In a simple word, he wanted that the system administrator, this one, training batch 208, is the system administrator. All right, this user, training batch 208, is the system administrator because he created all these users. So under certain circumstances, this user, the development user, he wanted that the system admin should access his account, this account. There could be certain good reasons for this. Now, how exactly a system administrator would access this account? And maybe what you guys are thinking would be like, this user, the development user, he was going to supply his credential information to the admin, because admin already knows his username, development 208, but he doesn't know the password. Why? Because this user has received the link onto his email ID. He set up the password by his own. So what you are thinking, this user, the development user, would going to supply his credential information to the admin. And he would say, this is my username and this is my password. You can make a login by this credentials. And when you try to make a login with some another account, with some another browser, as you have seen, Salesforce would always issue a verification code for the first time. So whenever you would make a login, verification code would be generated. I'm going to give it to you. No problem. No problem. This happens every time, although this should not be the ideal case. Actually, in the real time, we should never give our credential info to anybody, though it's our system admin. Even though if it's our system admin, we should not share our credentials to them. If you wanted, a person should have an access, especially when he's a system admin or a person from the Salesforce.com. There's a way. I'm going to show you that how we can grant the account login access either to our system administrator, not everyone, to our system administrator or to the Salesforce person. Okay. But in an ideal circumstances, you should never, what to say? You should never share your credentials to anybody. Achha, let me pause this recording. I wanted to add one important and a personal discussion over here. Okay. So let's consider that due to certain circumstances, this user wanted that system admin would make a login to his account. But sharing the credential is not the good way to do this. But how he can make a channelize, how he can ask the system admin that he should make a login to his account and see what the issue is facing. So there's a way to do that. ठीक है, उसके लिए आप go with this name and go with my settings. Right? This has been written in the notes, so don't worry, the navigation has been written. Now just expand the personal over here, and there's a link called grant account login access, right? Grant account login access. Now click onto this. When you make a click, you'll see that there are only two options. If somebody as a user wanted that someone else could make a login, there are only two possibilities. You cannot give this to anyone else. This is not an open setting. I could grant, let's consider I am a development user. I could grant my login either to my company's administrator or to the salesforce.com. If you wanted to hide this option, that is also possible. Being a system administrator, you can hide this. I'm going to show you how. For example, you don't want that anybody from your company should make a direct contact with the Salesforce. So you can even hide this option. In that case, there would be only one option left. तो अभी तो फिलहाल मैंने वो setting नहीं किया, and that's the reason there are two options. And I wanted you to understand that's the reason there are two options. When I'll come to this, I'll make you understand how to hide this option as well, so that any user in your company who doesn't have a facility that he could make a direct contact with the Salesforce, right? So we can even avoid this. Now, I'm not going with this. Rather, your company administrator, right? So I am giving him access. How many? What should be the duration? 1 day, 3 day, 1 week. These all are the options. I'm selecting, let's say, 1 day. 1 day, and this is going to be expired at 28. 28 is today, but for the US it's 27, right? So अभी वो एक दिन पीछे चल रहा है. There's a reason ये बता रहा है कि 28 को ये access this is going to be get expired. Now I'll save this. Changes has been saved, right? Changes has been saved. And let's go to the this page, and you just make a concentrate over here. I'll refresh this. I'll refresh. You're going to see certain changes. Just in front of development user, you can see one more one more link has been occurred to make a login. See, now by clicking into this, I could make a login into the development users account, right? And you have seen I certainly have not required any cracks for this, because development user allowed me to make a login. That's why I was able to make a login into his account. So this is, now let's make a logout. So you're going to eventually log out from every other place. Of course, I would be showing you how to avoid this. But yeah, चलो वहां तक अभी नहीं पहुंचा तो कोई बात नहीं. What is your password? Yeah. So this is the way that user could allow either the system administrator or somebody from the salesforce.com support to make a login into his account, right? And for example, let's say the issue has been resolved and this user wanted to remove this access. How to do this? Just go and change and then ho gaya. That's it. All right. And no access, give the no access and save it. Give the no access and save it. I think that is being saved. All right. Anyways, so no access save. I'll try to reload this. It's gone. All right, it's gone. So this is a way one user could ask the system administrator or somebody from the salesforce.com support to make a login into his account so that he could see what issue he is facing. And in that case, there's a login link that would generate it over here. Right? हाँ, आज इतना ही करते हैं. In the next lecture, I'm going to start from here. That's all for today. Now I have given you this command. You can unmute yourself if you wanted to discuss on anything. Yes, any questions? Any questions? All right.